Hi, Roselle. I think I was recording without realizing it for a couple of minutes there, or a couple of seconds there, not too bad. All right, so I worked on this and I decided to look at it from the other way around for the substitution rather than doing H. I did it for R. It sort of intuitively didn't make sense to do that because there's so many R's to substitute, but the H one was getting out of control, so I thought I'd do it this way, and I actually did work through it all the way to the end. So it works. I don't know, you can try it. Maybe I'll try it later with the R now that I know what the answer is supposed to be. See if I can get there. This would only got you started anyways, and this is perfectly fine. So what I've done so far here is I've solved for R squared and R using the volume formula over here. And in the surface area formula, everywhere there was an R, the first thing I did, I went in and changed out the R squared that was in this one here, that was in the square root sign. And then on the next step, I went and changed out the other ones, the R squared here, the R here. So let's simplify this just a wee bit before we try and take the derivative. The pi's will cross out here and here, so this term ends up being 300 over h. And then what I kind of like to do with this one is keep the pi outside. Because this is a root, it's a radical times a radical, I'm okay to multiply it inside. So I'm going to kind of distribute this into the radical. So I'm going to get 90,000 over pi squared h squared plus 300 over pi h times h squared, and one of those is going to cancel. So here's what I have so far. I'm going to switch at this point to exponential form for this guy. And this one's going to be 300 over pi, right? Okay. Oops, there's an h in there too. All right. So if we write that to the 1/2, it's the same as writing it as a square root. And I think that's the best thing that we can start with in terms of a derivative. So if we want to take the derivative of this thing, the first part is easy because the first part's just going to be negative 300 over h squared. And then the second part is going to have 1/2 multiplied in front of the bracket times the pi that was already there times what's in the bracket plus 300h over pi to the negative 1/2. We're not done yet because we still have chain rule for what's inside the bracket. And so that looks like, so the chain rule for this one, when I do the derivative of this guy right here, it's the only variable is h to the negative 2. And that's why the h squared is in the denominator. So I'm actually going to get negative 2 times this 90,000. I'm going to try and squeeze it all in here. Over pi squared, h is going to change to the cubed, right? And then I'm going to have plus, and I've got 300 over pi h, so I'm just going to get 300 over pi. And that's the chain rule part of it. So, Okay, so I've just moved this up a little bit so that we can do another line or two. there's some simplifying that we could do here. One thing we could do is we have a pi right here. Oops, I'm still on the thingy. Okay, we have a pi right here. And both terms in this bracket have a pi. So I could divide by pi. That would get rid of the exponent there and get rid of the pi there. Now, I also have a divided by 2, or 1/2 there, and if I take that and multiply it into that bracket, with this term it's going to leave me with a -1, and with the other term it's going to divide the 300 by 2, so it's going to be 150. So let's have a look at what we have left here. And we'll put that in the denominator in a minute. And that's going to be multiplied by whatever we got left over in this bracket, which is 90,000, negative 90,000, over pi h cubed plus 150. I think that's all we have left over in there. Okay, so now this video is getting long. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on pause and write the next step for you so you can see what we do with it, and then I'll let you play with it. Okay, so here's the step written in for you so you didn't have to wait for me to write it and make the video so long. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to take this guy and, oh sure, now it moves. We're going to take this guy, multiply it up here, and then we're going to square both sides. So you know what I think I'll do is, because this video is getting so long, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to send you this and let you play with it. And then I'm going to write out sort of the final couple of steps. I'll tell you what answer I ended up with, just so that you can compare if you get to the bottom. H is the cube root of 2400 over pi. That's what it all comes down to. So I'm going to let you play with that a little bit. I will send you the rest of the solution, or at least the next couple of lines to get you down to a point where you can solve it, but I just want to keep the video short enough so that it downloads okay. And I'll send it over to you right now.